Every morning I walk out and get on my porch and feel like I walked into a Norman Rockwell painting.
It doesn't matter whether you're in the big house or the littler house. Everyone is friendly and gets along, and we like seeing each other out and about.
It's a multi-generation story. We have so many family memories here.
Not only do you feel like you might be stepping back in time with the houses, but you feel that way with the neighborhood too.
I feel like it's almost make-believe. It's just a special place where everybody has the same ideas and values.
I always felt like it was something special because it is.
Well, I think when you're talking about McKennan Park and the McKennan Park District, you're really talking about an area that was a little bit out there in the early days. It first gets platted in 1883, and most of the neighborhoods up to that time had been downtown adjacent. You had the Cathedral District, which was right outside and bordered on downtown. You had All Saints, which bordered right on downtown, but McKennan was really one of those first neighborhoods that was away from downtown a little bit. It truly was in the country a bit. And you've got two main players that were really getting involved in this. You had Helen McKennan, the namesake for the district, and you had Melvin Grigsby. Grigsby came here to Sioux Falls in the early 1870s as a lawyer and got very involved in land, in business here in the community. If you're going to talk about that player, Helen McKennan, you have to look at this woman as someone who had a lot of forethought about what this area of the community could become. When she passed away in 1906, she left her home, she left land to the city, and she wanted it maintained as a park. If you talk about the focal point of the McKennan District, it has to be the Boulevard. What is 21st Street, but originally was the Boulevard, and it was the fashionable place to have a home in this area. It had the beautiful boulevard, there were plantings, there were shrubs, there were trees, and so you wanted a home that faced on that boulevard. The homes that you see around the district, they're premier homes. This was a neighborhood full of businessmen, and these were some of the business leaders here in the community. There were bankers, there were lawyers. Also with Helen McKennan's gift was the gift for the hospital, McKennan Hospital, which gets developed and built. So this also becomes a neighborhood where you're going to have many physicians that are going to take up residence as well. And it's a very eclectic styles. You know, into the early 1900s, we have some of the newer styles. You can go into more of the Frank Lloyd Wright and some of the very straight lines of the Prairie School style and such. But we have blends of Georgian architecture and colonial revival architecture and such. So it's really a very eccentric and a very eclectic piece of architecture here in this area.
I love the historical character of the homes and just the neighbors, and it's wonderful.
We like it because the lawns are pretty big, bigger than some of them, and every house is different. We don't have any that are the same, and that makes it fun.
Not only do you feel like you might be stepping back in time with the houses, but you feel that way with the neighborhood too.
It has always been a very family-oriented neighborhood. The park, of course, is a focal point, a place for families, and that's really what the vision of Helen McKennan was, that this would be a place where families could come and they could enjoy.
This was a neighborhood full of kids, and the park used to have all of these activities, and those were back in the days when your parents could send you to the park at 10 o'clock in the morning and they would know you'd be okay, and you might come home at 6 o'clock that night. I made more of those lanyards, you know, that you weave, and learned how to play all sorts of games. And they had this amazing wading pool that's no longer there. It's been replaced by a fancy pool, but this You know, the hours that we used to spend in the park, that's what I remember. All the kids, all the families, good memories.
I always said that it was McKennan Park that helped me raise my 6 kids. And I say that very honestly. At that time, I could send the children up to the park. I used to send John up with his little sister in a stroller. And as he played football or games or whatever they were playing at the park, and felt perfectly safe about doing that.
People are out. They're out walking, they're out talking to each other, they know one another, they take time to get to know one another. You feel like it's a safe place to live.
Many of these homes that border on the park, they have been in families for generations, and they get passed down through families because it's so desirable. And today we even have young families, young professionals, that this is desirable. This is a place where you want to come, you want to enjoy, you want to raise your family.
Wonderful memories, wonderful new people in the neighborhood. We don't have any fear here of any issues. I still feel safe letting my grandchildren go over to the park. It's beautiful. I love the historic homes. No reason to leave as far as I'm concerned.
I feel like McKennan Park is like the living room of Sioux Falls. It's one of the best neighborhoods.
You know, we could go just about any place in the neighborhood and there would be someone that you'd want to go up and give a hug to.
When we moved in 1981, we were the young couple with small children, and we lived next door to a grandma, and now we're the grandma and the grandpa, and the new families next door has 2 kids under 4, so the cycle is repeating.
I used to come and play here as a kid, and it was always kind of a dream, like maybe someday we could move here, maybe someday we could be across from the park and have kids here. And when the opportunity came up, we absolutely jumped at it, and it's been amazing.
You know, I think we really did feel very fortunate about being by the park. It had something for everybody, and it had something for every time of year, and it's where we met people, and it's where we learned the lessons you do growing up together with our neighbors as well.
There was this wonderful miniature village with a train that actually moved, and it was built in a rock area. It's hard to describe, but it had a little windmill and a little stream and this train track that went around, and it was just magical to stand there as a little kid and look up at that and watch it grow. It was neat. You know, if you think about it, all the great cities of the United States have a central park. You know, Central Park in New York City, or Swope Park in Kansas City, or the Denver City Park. And I think that's what McKennan Park has become to our city. It's kind of the central park that people gravitate to for. Helen McKennan had a great vision when she made it a park for families and women to bring their children to without fear. And so I think that people that live around the park gravitate to it and take great pride in it. And so when they meet a neighbor that lives a few blocks away, they're friends already. You know, it's a unifying force.
We've always called it kind of Central Sioux Falls, but I like that Central Park theme because we know and we are responsible for keeping it to the standard that it is, so many families after us can enjoy it as much as we do.
My favorite spot is looking out my front door and just looking at the green, looking at the trees, looking at nature. It's serene, it's good for you. It's maybe busy and full of people, but it's all good. You know, you get a real good energy from it because people are happy when they're here.
The area has always been clean, green, and whatnot, and those are the great things that we love about the park. We love seeing families use the park year after year. I mean, it kind of turns into this great, you're excited to see the summer turn over, you're excited to see the winter turn over, to bring, you know, different families in and whatnot. It's just fun to see this in Sioux Falls because we've needed it, we've had it, and now it's like a true gem for us that live here and everyone else. That's the beauty of the park. Everyone's welcome. It's a park at the end of the day. Everyone should be welcome.
One of the reasons we were attracted to the neighborhood was because of the diversity of population. And that's been one thing I like, the different ages, the different types of housing and so forth. I like the friendliness. People are out, as others have said. It's just, there's just a camaraderie.
There's always people outside walking their dogs. There's kids riding bikes. It's the childhood that I had growing up, and it's the childhood that I would like to give my kids.
So in our house, we get to look out our front window, and every single day we get to see probably 50 people walk by at night. So it's just part of the normal routine in the neighborhood that everyone here goes on a walk at night, and everyone owns a dog. So we don't currently own a dog, but we are definitely the outcast for not having a dog in the neighborhood. But definitely walking around, we stop just going along the boulevard back here. We probably get stopped on average 4 times on our nightly walks just to catch up with people. And again, you don't get that everywhere in Sioux Falls, so we love that as part of McKennan.
I've always said that the neighborhood is timeless, you know, when I talk about it to people, and I think it is in a very good way. You know, it's filled with people that care about each other, you know, that are interested in the beauty and the historical character of the park, but they want to make it better. You know, the city has, the Parks Department people have, and so it is better. There's more things going on here. There's activities for all ages. It's kept up beautifully, and things are added to each number of years that just enhance the park. And I think that's one of its enduring qualities, is it's always getting a little better.
There just isn't any other better neighborhood in Sioux Falls as far as I'm concerned.
You know, I think she'd love it. I think she'd love looking out her window from her home up on 21st and looking down and seeing the park used as she wanted it to be, and what it stands for as a symbol of pride in the community, of our park system, and also the generosity that makes parks like this possible, and that's something we all appreciate.